Now that you've given birth, we can be intimate again. I want it today. I've been waiting. I have needs.
Alex looked calm. That was the thing nobody would have believed if they had been there. How calm he looked. He was still in his work shirt, standing in the middle of a living room that told a very clear story about what he had been doing for the 4 days she was gone. Snack wrappers on the coffee table, game controllers on the couch, 3 pairs of his shoes scattered across the floor like he had been kicking them off wherever he stood, his clothes draped over every chair. And in his hand, a small foil packet. He turned to face her with the kind of expression a man wears when he thinks he is being reasonable. Maya was 32. She still had her hospital bracelet on her wrist. She had staples in her abdomen from surgery that had happened 3 days ago. And she was holding their daughter, a baby girl who had not yet seen 3 full days of life. Alex said, "Now that you have given birth, we can be together. I want it today. I have been waiting. I have needs." He held up the packet, like a gift. Maya looked at him. She looked at the room. She looked down at the baby in her arms. She said softly, "Alex, I just gave birth. I have staples in my abdomen. My whole body is still in pain. You might not understand how it feels, but I am serious. Can we please just wait the 6 weeks the doctor recommended?" His whole body turned. Something shifted in his face. And what came out next was not the voice of a man being reasonable. Alex said, "6 weeks? You had a C-section, not a real birth. Waiting 6 weeks is for women who actually pushed. You were too lazy to push, so you took the easy way out with my money. I paid for that surgery. That means I should have what I want immediately. I should have let you go through it yourself without spending a single coin." Silence. The baby stirred in Maya's arms. Maya looked down at her daughter. Then she looked up at her husband, and something inside her, something that had been bending quietly for months, holding its breath, waiting, finally landed. Alex had just made the worst mistake of his entire life, and he had absolutely no idea. Because what Alex did not know, not in 3 years of working at Meridian Group, not in 4 years of dating Maya, not in 2 years of marriage, was that the woman sitting across from him, holding his newborn daughter, still in pain from surgery, owned everything he had ever been proud of. Let me tell you who Maya actually is. At 24, Maya graduated with a first-class degree in business and finance. By 26, she'd taken her savings, a small inheritance from her grandmother, and a business loan, and built something from nothing. Meridian Group, a consulting and logistics firm that, within 5 years, had grown to 140 employees across 3 offices, a real company, built by her hands, her mind, her sleepless nights. She was quiet about it, intentionally. Maya had watched enough powerful women be approached for the wrong reasons, romantically, professionally, socially, to understand that her net worth was information she protected carefully. It was not something she advertised, it was not something she announced. It was hers, and she kept it close. When she met Alex at an industry event, where she was attending as a private investor, not as a founder, she liked that he did not know. She liked that when he looked at her, he saw her, not her portfolio, not her company, just her. And when Alex received a job offer from Meridian Group 6 months into their relationship, Maya made a quiet decision. She did not tell him. She watched him instead, from a distance. Through quarterly reports and performance reviews, she read privately, alone, after he had gone to sleep. She wanted to see who Alex was when no one who loved him was watching. She wanted to know who he really was. For a while, what she saw was impressive, but then things started to shift. It began small. The way Alex talked about the women at his office, dismissive, just slightly, just enough that you would only notice if you were paying very close attention. Then it was the late nights, the phone that was always face down, the way he laughed differently when he mentioned his assistant's name, a woman named Cara, and then immediately changed the subject. Maya had no proof. But Maya was a businesswoman. She had spent years reading patterns before they became problems. So 6 months before the baby was born, she did something completely untraceable back to her. She requested a routine review of senior staff conduct and expense reporting at Meridian Group. What came back was not explosive, not yet, but there were anomalies. Business dinners for two, logged under client entertainment, on evenings she knew Alex had told her he was working late alone. Hotel charges accumulating on a company card that did not match any logged business travel. Small things, denial. Then she went into labor, and 4 days later, she came home to a destroyed house and a husband holding a foil packet. The gift was never given. That night, after Alex went back to his video games and the baby finally fell asleep, Maya sat in the nursery with the lights off. She sat with the weight of what she knew and the weight of what she suspected and the weight of what had just happened in her own living room. She thought about the speech she had prepared. She thought about the look she had imagined on his face. And then she thought about Kara. She made a list, not an emotional list, a strategic one, what she knew, what she could prove, what she still needed, and what she was going to do about all of it. Then she opened her laptop and sent 3 emails, one to her attorney, one to her most trusted board member, and one to the head of Meridian Group's internal compliance division. The subject line on that last one was 4 words: full audit, eyes only. Alex slept soundly that night, completely unbothered. He had no idea that while he slept, the woman he had just humiliated was quietly beginning to dismantle everything he thought he owned. And if you're watching this right now and you are new here, welcome. I genuinely mean that. This channel is called The Final Chapter, and what we do here is simple. We tell the stories that do not get told quietly, the stories where the person everyone underestimated turns out to have been holding all the cards the entire time. If that is the kind of story that does something for you, subscribe right now, not later. Right now, while Maya's story is still unfolding, because what Alex is about to discover in the second half of this story, you do not want to miss. Subscribe, hit the bell, and let us keep going. The full audit took 3 weeks. 3 weeks during which Maya recovered from surgery, established feeding routines, managed a newborn, and said absolutely nothing to Alex about what was coming. She was pleasant, she was present. When he complained that she was not giving him enough attention, she nodded and said, she was, Alex said, voice tight. Maya, is this some kind of joke? Maya said, calm and warm and almost cheerful. Hi, Alex, how was your day? Now, I have to pause here for just a moment because I know some of you found this video today for the first time. If you have made it this far into Maya's story, that tells me something about you. You are not someone who watches things halfway. You stay, you pay attention, you want to see how it actually ends. That is exactly who this channel is built for. If you have not subscribed yet, do it right now. One tap, and when the next story drops, you will be the first to know. Because what Alex is about to walk into in the next few minutes is worth being here for. Subscribe. Let us finish this together. Alex came home in 20 minutes flat. Maya was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of tea and a folder in front of her. The baby was with Diane for the evening. He walked through the door, looking like a man whose entire foundation had shifted beneath his feet. She gestured for him to sit down. Alex said, Maya, listen. Whatever you think you know, we can talk about this. We are married. Whatever is happening at the company, that is separate from us. Maya said, is it? She opened the folder and slid the first document across the table. The audit report summary, 14 months of personal expenses approved through his budget, dinners, hotel stays, $11,240, all approved by him for Kara. Alex said, those were legitimate business. Maya said, Alex, just his name, that was all. And he stopped. Maya said, I have every receipt, every hotel check-in record, every booking name. I built the compliance system at that company years before you arrived. Did you really think nothing tracked? Alex tried 4 things in quick succession, and Maya noticed the order because it told her everything she needed to know about who he was. First he denied it, then he minimized it, then he got angry, then he cried. The tears were the most surprising and the least effective. Within 30 days, 3 things happened simultaneously. Alex was formally terminated from Meridian Group with cause. HR handled it exactly by the book, exactly as the policy Maya had written required. Maya's attorney filed for divorce. Given the financial misconduct, the post-delivery documentation, and the audit findings, the legal positioning strongly favored Maya. And Kara resigned before she could be let go. She left without severance. The company pursued legal recovery of the $11,000 directly from her. Alex hired his own attorney, who argued that Maya had concealed a significant marital asset, her ownership of Meridian, and that he was entitled to a share of it. Maya's attorney was ready for this. Maya had established Meridian years before the marriage, and there was a prenuptial agreement, slim, quiet, signed before the wedding, that clearly and specifically protected all premarital assets. Alex had signed it without fully reading it. He had called it a formality at the time. It was not a formality. The divorce was finalized 7 months later. Alex received no stake in Meridian Group. His personal settlement was modest because it turned out that most of their lifestyle had been quietly funded through Maya's private accounts, not his salary. He lost his job, his income, his professional reputation in an industry where Meridian Group's reach was significant. And Kara, the woman he had risked everything for, the woman he had spent $11,000 on through a company that belonged to his wife, was not waiting for him on the other side. She had already moved on to someone else. Alex had lost everything for a woman who was never really his. Maya took 6 months of true maternity leave, something she had never allowed herself before, not once since she had started Meridian. She returned to the company when her daughter was 7 months old. She walked into that building as herself, fully, publicly, without the quiet anonymity she had carried for years. The staff gave her a standing ovation. She had not asked for it. She did not expect it, but she stood there in the lobby of the company she had built from nothing, with her daughter in a carrier on her chest, and she let herself receive it. She said later that it was the first time in years she had let herself be completely seen. Her daughter will grow up knowing exactly who her mother is, not the version Alex thought he knew, the real one. Maya said something I have not been able to stop thinking about since I heard it. She said, I built that company to have power, but I spent years hiding the power because I was afraid of what it would attract. What Alex taught me is that hiding yourself does not protect you. It just means the wrong people feel safe disrespecting you inside your own house. She said, I will never hide again. When I was developing this story, I shared it with a small group of people first. The responses were immediate and visceral. I know a woman this happened to. This is my story. I wish I had done what Maya did. I waited 12 years, and one message that hit differently than all the others, from someone who wrote simply, I have been making myself smaller for a man who does not even see me. This reminded me of who I was before I started shrinking. That is why this channel exists, not just for the satisfaction of watching someone receive exactly what they deserve, though honestly, that part is deeply satisfying, but because stories like Maya's remind us of something important. The people who underestimate you are not seeing clearly, and their inability to see you is not your diminishment. It is their liability. So before we close this chapter, I want to ask you one last question, and I genuinely want your answer in the comments. Was there a moment in Maya's story where you thought she went too far? Or do you think she did not go far enough? Tell me. I read every single comment on this channel, everyone. And if this story did something for you today, if it made you feel something, remember something, or say yes, finally out loud, then I want to ask you for one small thing. Subscribe to this channel, not because of numbers, but because this is a space being built intentionally for the stories that deserve more than silence, for the women who built empires quietly, for the endings that actually look like justice. Every week, a new chapter, and you do not want to arrive late. Subscribe. Share this with someone who needs it today. And if you have already subscribed, thank you. You are the reason this channel exists. Maya's story is about a woman who built an empire and almost gave it away to a man who never deserved a seat at her table. But she caught it, just in time.